Just want to make this video quick. I got a lot to say, but we'll see how quick this video is. I'm talking about probably the saddest thing I've ever seen. And I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not being exaggerated. I'm being serious. This is something that I see almost every day, and it's really disturbing me. I'm going to talk about the man without the purpose. Now, what does that mean? The man without the purpose. Just people drifting through life, just going off the wind. Whatever happens, happens to them. They don't really care. They're just kind of. It's that saying, just scraping by. Just doing whatever to get through life, and it's just the man without a purpose. Ask him who he is. Ask him what his dreams are. Think about it. What are your dreams? What do you want to do? Who are you? What do you represent? Who do you want to be? Who inspires you to get up in the morning? If you can't answer any of those questions off the top of your head, you're probably who I'm talking about. Just a man without the purpose, just drifting through life, going around, just having no purpose. And people wonder why there's so much depression in the world. I just, not the world per se, probably mostly just America, if we're being honest, the West. And I just think it's because people just don't have purposes anymore. They don't know who they are. They don't have anything that inspires them. They don't create anything. I was watching this YouTuber, and he said it perfectly, where he said, people spend way too much time consuming, but they don't spend enough time creating. And that really just gets to the heart what I'm trying to talk about. It's just the modern man. He's lost. He's eating junk food all day on Pornhub, or I guess I gotta say Cornhub, playing with his corn cob on Pornhub. And it's just kind of sad, just drifting through life. And it's really what a man stands for, his purpose in life, who he is, who he wants to inspire, and who he aspires to be. That is his calling. When you think of the modern man, you're not inspired. Most people are chubby. Most people don't have any goals in life. You're not really inspired by that. You're inspired by athletes, politicians, actors, actresses. I think I already said athletes, but people who push themselves to be great, people who have a drive in life, people who create, whether that's create books, TV shows, media. I just repeated myself basically. Lawmaking, people like that, people who represent something, people who stand for something, people who are not afraid to be judged. Tech billionaires. A lot of people inspire to be tech billionaires, and that is what I'm trying to get to. Why? It's more I'm just asking, why are people just drifting through life without a purpose? I can understand maybe like your teenage years, your early 20s, you're just kind of figuring yourself out, which I might make a video on that. You shouldn't figure out who you are. You should try to figure out who you want to be. You should figure out the man that you want to be, per se. And so I think that's just the question. Why do men just have no purpose anymore? Why is everyone just kind of drifting through life, just saying whatever happens, happens? I don't care. Dressing like slobs, eating like slobs, behaving terribly. I think it boils down to a couple different things. Number one, the modern man is usually faithless. He's agnostic. He's an atheist. Let's just get this out the way. It's hard to have morals. It's hard to aspire to be someone if you don't believe in God. Because if you're a Christian, Muslim, God forbid a Jew, you have this kind of higher calling. The Jews, they believe that they're God's chosen people, and they act like it. Everywhere you go, you see a Jew. Because they're naturally more creative, higher IQ, because they push themselves to have a purpose and to be something. So I think it's religion. It's that drive. You are created in the image of God, so therefore you must aspire to be great as God is great. You must aspire to create as God creates. You must aspire to raise a family, to be a teacher, to be someone who influences other as God does. And I think that's one reason why just the modern man is just has no purpose. It's just because he doesn't believe in God. He doesn't go to church. What's the point in life? The second reason why I believe the modern man is, or the most people, I should say, are just kind of drifting through life without a purpose. It's because they're just so distracted. You have all these apps on your phone: TikTok, YouTube, news app, Twitter, and you're just being pulled in like all these different directions, and you just don't know where to go. When you hear so many opinions, I mean, when your brain is just constantly hit with news, with garbage, with all this different stuff on your phone, all these distractions, you're just kind of you're just sitting there. You're just in your bed, just lying, just doom scrolling, and you don't know where that time has gone. You don't care where that time has gone because your brain is just wired to just kind of just float in basically the internet. Your brain is just out there floating in the internet, where your body is just sitting in your bed or on the chair, just doing nothing, not creating, not being something, not studying. And I think that's a real shame too. We have so much information, we have so much media, we have so much content, but yet people are just sitting there and doing nothing with it. They just don't have the motivation to do anything with it. The third reason why I think the modern man just doesn't really have a purpose, doesn't really care about his job, about his health, about how he dresses. The reason why I think the modern man just doesn't care anymore is just because he doesn't have to. The modern man is addicted to comfort and to be great, to inspire, to kind of, climb new heights and to improve yourself. That's scary. That's dangerous. That's uncomfortable. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts. It hurts to break out of your comfort bubble. But the modern man is just so comfortable. He doesn't feel like he needs to do anything. You don't even have to leave your house to get DoorDash. Or, I'm sorry, you don't even have to leave your house to get food because you have DoorDash. You know, you don't have to go out with your friends to go see a movie in the movie theater. You have Netflix. You can watch any movie ever on Netflix or Hulu, or I don't know these streaming services. I don't have these streaming services. Whatever. And people are just so addicted to comfort now. It paralyzes them, basically. You know, why be great when you can be comfortable? Um, I go back to the quote where it's like, you were not made to be comfortable, you were made to be great. I don't know who said that, but it's a quote I go back to a lot. And the solution to this is just to just break out, push yourself. You know, try to improve yourself every day. Like I said, the questions that I asked you, who do you aspire to be? What inspires you? What do you want to create? Who do you? I think I already said that. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do with your life? If you have trouble answering any of those questions off the top of your head, then you are the person I'm talking about. You are the lost modern man. And I just say, you were not made to be comfortable. You were made to be great. The greatest regret is just looking back in your life and saying, I had so much potential and I did nothing with it. So, you want to look back when you're older and look back on a life that you're proud of. You don't have to spend every waking moment grinding, being, trying to be Elon Musk or Donald Trump, but you want to at least push yourself. Every day you want to get closer to your goals. And I'm a strong believer in that. Be better than the person that you were yesterday. That's what motivates me to get up. Time is finite, and people just don't seem to care, or they just don't. It doesn't really register in their brain. So, moral of the story: don't be the modern man. Don't be the wasted potential. Have a purpose in your life. Go out, chase it. It will be a lot more fulfilling than just doom scrolling online and just wasting your time. And you won't grow up to be old and thinking, oh, I should have done this. I wish I did this. So, yeah, get to it. Let's be good.